Hello and welcome to the Dream Team episode of the Hoop Theory Podcast, aka episode 92, which is in honor of the greatest sports team ever assembled, the 1992 USA Olympic men's basketball team. Recording this one on the evening of Tuesday, July 2nd, in the year of our Lord 2024. My name is Logan Wertman, and as usual, I'm joined by my oscillating co-host, Jacob Roth. Jacob, how does it feel to be on the Dream Team episode?
Feels good, and I'm a fan of the Dream Team.
It's not a person.
Oscillating fan. Get it?
Yeah. Going back and forth. Because
that's like the fan that goes like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm oscillating on my opinion of like soup, I think.
Soup? Oh, wow.
Soup?
That is, like, I was thinking something completely like, related to basketball or at least sports or something, but soup is where we're going.
But oscillating, I feel like I have to have an up, down, like a, I don't know if there's very many. I usually will be like high and then it'll be like low and then it'll high, but I don't think I like keep going. Like it's usually, there's very few things that I've double back on.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, the closest one is probably the Jaylen Brown money.
I was thinking the same thing.
Because I feel like Jaylen Brown, also, once you put this year into perspective, not even the season, but this offseason in perspective, it feels perfect.
The money, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Like, even if you try to, like, remove what he did for us this season or what he did this season as a basketball player, like, with the contracts that other people are getting, it feels correct. He's not the worst overpay that's out there by miles.
I don't think he ever has been, even when he got it.
That deal. And then, this is another thing that we could talk about, maybe a different... Well, no, this is a good episode to talk about it. I feel like there's, like, this weird thing where you are either a middle-of-the-road guy, like a $25 to $30 million a year guy, or you're the max, and there's no middle. No one gets signed for $39 million a year. Like, the only people making that money are people that, like, that was the max at the time.
For the most part. There's some people making, like, in the high 20s and low 30s, though, I feel like. Like, Isaiah Hartenstein, we just saw signed for 3 years, $87 million, I believe.
Which... This is a different where like he's on his team 5 or something like that. Hartenstein.
Honestly, he started with the Rockets. I think then he went to the Clippers and then the Nuggets. I might have those flipped around in order. And the Knicks. And now the Thunder. Yeah, that's about 5, I think.
But my thought is, you know what's kind of disgusting to me?
What?
He's a very good basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
But the best defensive end in football, Myles Garrett, makes $5 million less than him a year.
Are you saying that's gross?
That's just crazy to me. Because, like, I don't think this is being disrespectful to Hartenstein. He's not the best center in basketball by a lot.
Yeah.
So then to be like, and you could argue TJ Watt. So, like, first or second best defensive end in the entire planet.
How many football players are on a roster in the NFL?
53.
Okay, so that's like
that's part of it.
3 times as big of a roster?
4.
18 times 3 is...
It's 18?
Yeah, there's 18.
Well,
3 two-ways, 15 full-time
My brain did
spots.
13, and then I did 13 times 4, which is 52, because that's a deck of cards. And that's how I got to that so quick.
Oh, gotcha.
But that was incorrect entirely.
Starting last season, there's now 18 spots. Before there was 17. And that's also if you're including the two-way spots. If you're not including two-way, then it's 15.
It's 15. Okay. But that's just like a wild. It's also like baseball. Like the baseball numbers are like that doesn't seem real.
Yeah, baseball is weird too because they don't.
It's because they play so many games. There's like a bazillion things.
Oh.
But then tickets are also like a quarter. That's a bit dramatic, but I think that's just the way that it is, and it makes sense when you look at like how many athletes need to get paid football compared to basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But like you are the best at your craft, and then the other guy's like high middle of the road, and he makes like $5 million more a year than you do, and it's not like he's been loyal to a team. Like not at his own fault. He's just been bouncing around, being like a mercenary for hire or via trade.
Hartenstein?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, his stop with the Knicks was the first stop that he's had that, like, everybody agreed, like, oh, he's good. Like, all the other stops, it was like, do we like this guy? I don't know.
Do we just want to jump into the, like, or do we want to go draft first? Because, like, that's chronological.
That's true.
We should probably start down.
Yeah. We can start with the draft a little bit. Just do some quick draft thoughts.
France dominated the top 10.
Yeah.
It was Zachary Ricochet at 1. Is that Ricochet?
Ricochet, yep.
Oh, dang. Shout out to me.
Yeah.
Alex Sarr went 2.
By the way, last episode, I realized right after we got done recording that, like, when I saw his name written down somewhere, I realized that I was saying Olivier Sarr that entire episode, which is his older brother.
Didn't even notice that.
Yeah. I don't know how I did that, but yeah, I did that multiple times last episode. So just wanted to correct that really quick. But yeah, those two guys were the first and second pick, respectively, and they're both Frenchmen.
Yep.
So that's it was the first time we've had 2 back-to-back, drafts with somebody drafted from the same country that's not the United States. And then it was also the top 2 picks of this draft as well from same country, not United States.
Which I also wonder if it's like a fad. Like, obviously they're good basketball players.
There just seems to be like, it's like really just like a French Revolution, pun intended.
Minus rich people being beheaded.
Yeah, but just, a lot of French basketball
maybe
players.
I should pivot. Maybe that should be tidbit theory, is the French Revolution.
Is that like niche enough?
I could be. I don't know. Make it a two-parter.
French Revolution is like a big, it's like
today's
a major.
tidbit theory is in honor of Derrick White. It's the American Bison. That's what today's is going to be about.
Yeah, that's a little bit more specific.
I guess, yeah. I don't know. French Revolution's like not super specific. Oh, we're sure. Well, this won't come out at the 4th of July, so it doesn't super matter. So, never mind. Just get rid of all that garbage that I just said. The French were number 1 and number 2. And then an American outdoorsman rolled in at number 3, and you love to see it.
Reed Shepherd.
That doesn't super matter. Reed Shepherd went 3. I like the fit. Crazy, his upside, but he's still going to probably be like the 8th man, unless they move things around.
Yeah.
Just because of like, the Rockets are just like young. There's just so much youth. They are essentially the fountain of youth.
Exactly. We've just got so many good young players there, and they've even got, one of their few veterans on the team, one of their best players, Fred VanVleet, is going to be in the way there in the point guard spot.
Like, yeah.
So unless they want to go, like how the Raptors did back in the day with VanVleet and Lowry, do 2 starting point guards that are both like 6 foot, or I think Reed Shepherd's a little bit taller than
he's a little bit taller, but I also feel like in terms of how we treat him in our brains, we can pretend he's like 6'3".
Yeah.
Or maybe even a little taller.
I think he is, or he's 6'2", probably.
Just the way he plays defense, he does not feel like it will be a bigger problem in the NBA than it was in college. But like the way that he plays defense, you don't like, the size is not much of a detriment to him as it is to others. Like, he's sneaky athletic, and I think that's why he ended up going 3.
Yeah, Fred VanVleet is kind of a similar story, but for a different reason. It's more of the bulk and the girth for him that makes him play bigger than his height,
as opposed to the athleticism.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and then at the 4th spot in the draft, the Spurs got Stephon Castle.
Let's go.
Which this guy is another guy that is like might as well have been taken with the first pick. All of these top 4 guys, really.
Honestly, I feel like you get that until like the random curveball at 6, but like I feel like Clingan at 7 could have gone 1. Holland could have gone at 1. There's like,
yeah, honestly, I think Sarr, Shepherd, and Castle I would all feel better about than Ricochet at number 1. I like all 3 of those guys more as the number 1 pick.
And I also think it was kind of a need thing. Yeah. Like what vibes are we trying to fit? Sarr obviously could have made it work in Atlanta, but he was kind of vocal, like, don't want to super be there.
which he said right after he got picked that he wasn't, but that he didn't say that. But I don't know who to believe on that one. I'm guessing that there had to be something, but he basically just said that. Let's give him the benefit
of the doubt, and I will believe Alex Sarr. He would have been a great asset to the Atlanta Hawks organization, but they went the wrong route, and they're going to regret it when the Washington Wizards rise from the ashes on the back of Alex Sarr. Mm-hmm. And I almost said Bielitsa. Baji Coulibaly?
Yeah. Bilal Coulibaly?
Bilal! Dang it!
Baji.
That's gonna be a person's name. Baji. I feel like that's a name.
It sounds Indian.
And not French, you're right.
But I think Bilal Coulibaly also is not a French name, though. Most of these prospects, the reason why they're coming from France is because of how many people they took in from, the African colonies, former colonies, countries now, but are associated with France.
Wembanyama's got to have a little bit of French twinge to it.
No, it's Congolese.
Really?
Victor Wembanyama, yeah. His dad is...
you will not convince me.
Okay, that one is definitely
that makes
French,
me feel better.
For sure, yeah. Which a lot of these countries probably do have some French, a good amount of French,
influence
in their names and stuff because of the connection that has been formed over time. But yeah, they've been getting a lot more guys in France, born and raised there from those countries like the Congo and Nigeria and such. I think there's a lot in soccer as well. Like it's not just basketball that's seeing a lot more French athletes. But yeah, so like you said, Ron Holland from the G League Ignite got selected 5th to Detroit.
Which I like that for Detroit. I thought that was a good fit. Mm-hmm. Instead of continuing to get more guards, they just said, let's go get a forward.
Yeah.
What a crazy idea.
Guys. Yeah.
Like, honestly, any forward, I would have been like, that's a good pick for the Pistons. Instead of, for some reason, being like, let's overpay for our forwards of guys that are kind of solid, and then let's exclusively draft guards. Which has been their plan the past 4 years, which I just don't.
I think it's honestly they've been taking the best person available when it falls to them. It just so happens to be a guard the past 3 years in a row. Yeah, but I think they have enough there in that rotation, especially since Jaden Ivey saw the season that he saw last year of not getting as many minutes as he probably should have, and they ended up paying their head coach. What is it, $64 million to not coach anymore because how he didn't play Jaden Ivey very much. But yeah, that's a different topic though. And then to finish off at least the lottery French Revolution, we have Tidjane Salaun, I believe is how you pronounce his first name, Tidjane.
I would have guessed Tidjane. That's what it reads. Yeah, that's wrong, but Tidjane? I need to learn how to say it. Tidjane?
I've heard somebody pronounce it so it rhymes with his last name, and so that would be Tidjane Salaun, I would say.
Okay. Respectfully, I hope he's not good. I don't think I'm going to be able to remember that name very well.
Honestly, I think he's basically the same as Risache, player-wise. They're very similar. 6'8" wings that can kind of do a lot of things, but don't seem to be super great decision makers. And they kind of have a little bit of bust factor.
Yeah.
Seems like they might be lurking. But I thought the same thing about some other guys that have worked out, like Jonathan Kuminga. That was a similar thought process or prospecting that I had of Jonathan Kuminga. So that would be definitely a win for either of those picks, honestly, for them to turn out like Kuminga. I think in this type of draft, you'd be happy with that in the top 6. And then Donovan Clingan to the Blazers.
This one broke my heart. It was so close to my dream
to getting both the UConn
boys. And I knew it wasn't going to happen because, it was if Clingan's at 7, they're taking him. It's not a question. Which is kind of worrisome when you're like, who's the guy that gets paid the most on their team? And it's DeAndre Ayton?
Yeah. I honestly was very surprised that the Grizzlies did not trade up to get Clingan after he fell to really honestly 5th or 6th. I thought that we would see the Grizzlies trade up at that point.
But they got their guy, the guy they wanted the whole time. That
At
they could
9.
have traded back for, probably.
Honestly, probably
Should have, in hindsight. But they did not. We'll talk about them in a couple picks. But then the weirdest interaction, and the reason I hate the NBA draft happened.
Number 8, because
number 8,
he's wearing a Spurs hat.
Like, that just... Why? I get why, but why? Please, every other professional franchise has figured this out. And this one was weird because the trade got...
league.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But this one got reported, it seemed like, after the pick. But they definitely knew before the pick that they were doing this.
Did it get reported after the pick?
On the broadcast, it did. I wasn't super tuned in on the Twitter side.
Oh, okay. I was just watching the broadcast. I couldn't remember.
But I know that, like...
If it happened after, it was like right after, wasn't it?
No, because the gal was talking to Dillingham. Mm-hmm. And then ESPN cut in is like, he's not even a Spur playing with Wemby. What a cool idea. He's actually going to be in Minnesota.
Uh-huh.
And that is where Rob Dillingham went to.
Which I really like. Getting a backup point guard there.
Which is what we wanted them to do with off-season things, but they didn't.
Yeah.
So they went and did it in the draft. Dillingham, I think, is the most, in my brain, I don't say bust potential, but he's just as like, I am offensive explosion.
Very quick guard. Spark plug guard. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like a worse version of Ant. Granted, Ant's like the best in
like
the
a
NBA
small
at
guard,
this.
though.
Yeah, and not like a big football player.
He's like Tony Parker, player mold, but, obviously not guaranteed to have the success of a Tony Parker.
Not a potential Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so cool to see 2 Kentucky guys go early. Just kidding. Nobody's ever said that ever, except for Kentucky people.
Yeah.
But now the juiciest pick, I think, of almost the first round. The most just bizarro. What is going on?
This was the first pick that I said wow to. That's for
R.I.P.
sure.
Chris Vernon, who before the draft said, if this happens, you're never going to see me again.
Oh, okay. That's why he said R.I.P.
He verbatim said, if they take, I guess it's not a spoiler, it's like weeks old, Zach Edey is a member of the Memphis Grizzlies, which I don't hate fit-wise, but it's more like, unless
they didn't need to take him with the 9th pick in the draft.
You could have traded down to like 13.
12 at the highest.
And also, was it just like fan crafting, being like, I love Edey on the Thunder? Or was that like GMs actually thinking that could fit? Was Sam Presti even like...
I heard it from people that do have relationships with GMs, so I don't know. But they
and they were the ones that said like, oh, this might be...
KOC is the main voice I heard. He was the leader of the train of saying
Edey
that...
at 12.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, you could have traded back and got him then. I mean, it's only a couple picks, but that's free second rounders.
Yeah. Exactly.
That you kind of need as the Grizzlies because you're bad.
Why are they bad?
I keep forgetting Ja's always hurt.
Yeah, most of their roster was hurt.
Yeah, I forget last year was like a weird anomaly.
Their center and their backup center.
They like 2 years ago, they had such a bad half of like with the whole job thing. And then last year, so many people were hurt. My brain just puts them in the bad category. And it shouldn't, because if they all stay healthy, they're like a pretty solid team.
They're
in
the 2
theory
seed.
On paper.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, that was with like a lot of pieces they don't have anymore, but
1.
2. Brooks is gone.
Oh, Dylan Brooks, but they have Marcus Smart.
Which is just better Dylan Brooks.
Yeah.
And then they have, they lost Steven Adams as well.
Yeah.
Right? So yes, I do have that correct.
But, they got Jaren Jackson Jr. and Brandon Clark should be coming back fully healthy now after the ACL. It kept him out all last year.
That's true.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll be good.
It'll be a different team for sure. Definitely
another
different.
Issue for the West to deal with.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Maybe they don't end up all that great because of how tough the West is. Maybe they are just like the 8th seed.
Which is weird because I was thinking, did the West get worse, but it's still just a meat grinder on the top?
How did it get worse?
I think the Clippers are worse.
Okay. Oh, because Paul George moving, that's a big domino. But I feel like we're kind of getting into conversation that
ahead of the fact. Yep. Sorry.
That's all right. But just to touch on the last thoughts in the draft, I did want to look at the Mattis Buzelis pick at 11 for him going to Chicago, his hometown. It's a pretty cool story.
I like that. I felt like it was lower than like my brain thought, but also
For sure.
this draft, like 15-1, everybody like had different reports. I love Topić. I just like getting the value. Topić. I like getting the value at that pick more than like the fit itself.
Yeah.
Why you got rid of Edey or Giddey and then went and got another Giddey, I'm not super positively sure why they felt the need to do that. But
Topić is a much better shooter, though, isn't he? I think.
Is he?
At least.
Is he much?
I think he's at least. I thought at least. I thought he was supposed to be more of like a Goran Dragic instead of a Josh Giddey. But so I think he's probably like a blend between
30%
Dragic,
3-point shooter.
30%. Yeah, it's always hard also translating those numbers from different leagues.
Yes,
what's his free throw percentage?
87.
Okay, so like very good.
There's a shooter in there.
Yeah. Definitely better than Giddey.
And then going to OKC, it's probably like one of the better spots you could go.
Yeah, Chip England.
In terms of like, oh, there's a shooter in there somewhere. Let's get that brought out. So I like that one. Honestly.
And he's going to not be playing the next entire year, apparently, according to his agent. Or somebody saying, like, be prepared for him not to play at all next season.
Oh.
Which sounds like more than just an ACL tear, like a simple or normal ACL tear recovery, because that happened back in, like, March.
Yeah. Well, they definitely know like what was going on when they took him, so it must be, maybe it's like they'd rather him just get back. I don't know. He's also crazy young. He's like 18 still.
Yeah, very young.
Got to be one of the younger guys in the draft. Honestly, I felt like my favorite stretch of picks in the draft was like 11 to 16. I feel like those were all of the picks where I was like, yeah, I like that.
Devin Carter, for sure. That's like I see that as kind of like the Tyrese Halliburton type of pick.
Or the Giannis, where you go back and look. You'll be like, that guy was the best in the draft. It's also hard because of the year spread that we have. Because Devin Carter is it's
like 23 or almost.
He's like on the older side.
Yeah.
So I think that helps. But Bub Carrington, I like that one. Because he's going to
the Wizards.
The Wizards is working. See, this is where I also struggle to figure out all that stuff. I like that pick. Just as a player, I like the value at 14. There was two players that I liked.
So you stopped at 16, even though the other big steal of the draft that I would say is 17. Yeah.
I just tried to find a 5-pick span, and I just stopped.
Yeah.
I should have definitely went down to 17. Because, as we'll get there, Dalton Knecht was a irritatingly good pick for the Lakers at 17.
Yeah,
and I think Jared McCain is also a guy that has the potential to be like, that is the perfect place he could have gone for what he can do, and it is a bummer for everyone that has to play the 76ers that they have a spacer that is the quality of Jared McCain.
I like that pick as well, but yeah, Dalton Knecht at 17 might have been my favorite pick of the draft. Definitely up there at least. Jumping down a little bit to the Nuggets, who traded up to 22 to grab DaRon Holmes, who's, finally a good center, hopefully, that we could have on our team to be the backup to Jokic. It's been something that we have just not really had even an option for very much recently. So that'll be nice to have if he pans out. And he was the guy that all of Nuggets Twitter was like going nuts about.
Was he the guy that got told by, like, I saw reports that the Nuggets had told someone that if you are there, you will be going in the first round. Yep. We promise. There's not a question.
Yep, the Nuggets promised to take Holmes if he was still on the board.
Okay.
Yep. So that's why everybody was very excited, or, talking about him basically as we were going to get him. And we ended up trading up to make sure that we got him from like 28. I think was our pick.
Also, one other thing that I find weird, he's DaRon Holmes the second. I thought the seconds are supposed to be juniors.
Gary Payton the second.
That's just weird to me.
I think that just depends on
like the vibe.
What you want. Yeah. Or maybe
that is true because it is Gary Payton the second. There is like a lot of examples of that.
Yeah, I don't think there's a Gary Payton the third yet. When I was younger, I thought that it was always senior and junior, but then once there was a third, then it was swapped. First, second, and third. Yeah. But I guess not. Maybe it's just however you want to do it. I mean, last year's draft had Rookie Council the fourth, who was just the fourth Rookie Council of his brothers, or the third, because their dad's name is Rookie Council, so he was the first, and then the oldest brother was the second, the second brother was the third, and the third brother is the fourth. And that's just how they decided to do it. They just break the mold, you know?
Do their own thing.
But I really liked Terrence Shannon also going to the Timberwolves.
Oh, yes. Also,
27.
I don't know if this was on the podcast or just in general. I was one of the people that was very out on Terrence Shannon because every piece of evidence made it look like he was a garbage person. But it turns out the lady that accused him of it is going to be at a table with Hitler in hell, the worst type of human ever. So,
I don't know near enough
Shannon.
about that case to have
a gal
input.
Accused him of doing something inappropriate.
Yeah.
And then in text messages that got released in court say, we got him. Essentially, just a garbage person. And probably is the reason he didn't come. Maybe not the reason he didn't come out last year, but definitely is the reason he went at 27 as opposed to higher. He's you could rename Booty Ball Shannon Ball because he is just that as an antithesis. And I think that will work very well in Minnesota as a second unit little engine of offense.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of college James Harden, Arizona State James Harden. So
doesn't try on defense enough, in my opinion, but we'll see how that works out in the mold of Minnesota that kind of bullies you into playing defense.
Mm-hmm. And then at 28, the Nuggets, that pick that the Nuggets traded up to the Suns. So this pick went to the Suns, and that was Ryan Dunn, who Jay Billis kept calling the best defender in the draft. So that probably is a good pick there. And then Baylor Scheierman, straight out of Aurora, Nebraska, which is a town in between the two of us, for those who don't know.
I've never had more people text me about a sporting thing. It's
Really? Because he went to the Celtics?
I think it's because if you take Creighton hater, Celtics fan, I might be the top on the planet. In terms of someone that despises
multiplying
Creighton.
Both of those together, yeah.
And then
you have the highest score.
I would like to think that I'm in the top 1% of the world at that one thing.
Yeah.
I think I counted my final count. 23 different people texted me about Baylor Scheierman going to the Celtics.
All of them because of that angle, or were some of them? Oh, really? Wow.
Almost exclusively, go Blue Jays. And I was like, stop.
Nice.
No. But it's awesome. I love it. I think he's an older guy, so he's ready to go. Mm-hmm. If there's any kind of, I think you'll legitimately see him. He might, everybody was making jokes in Celtics social media worlds. Get ready to learn Portland, Maine, buddy, because you're going to be a Maine Celtic. I think Scheierman actually has the chance, if there's any kind of anything that happens to our forward rotation, he's a guy that I think could plug in. I also think he's future-proofing for if we do not get our beloved three-point legend.
Sam Hauser
back.
I was going to say, he feels like a replica of Sam Hauser a little bit.
Oh, no, and he plays pretty solid defense, and he's just...
Same size.
And especially, almost, he's got the tools, and I will be purchasing a Baylor Scheierman jersey. I am just going to get a lobotomy so I can forget about the post San Diego State Jackrabbit years. So shout out to
South Dakota
State. I tried to decipher SDSU in my brain,
SDSU,
and I did it wrong. South Dakota State Jackrabbit legend Baylor Scheierman, also Aurora Husky legend, as he just absolutely obliterated everybody in C1 athletics.
Mm-hmm.
Just took everybody to task.
Yeah.
Indiscriminately. So, honestly, they might have been Class B at that point. No one cares, and Nebraska has a weird class system, so none of those probably made sense to anybody, but that doesn't matter.
Oh, really? I didn't know that Nebraska
Everyone else
weird.
Just does a number of A's. Why we don't? I don't know.
Oh.
But I think it's 6A.
I knew Texas was like that.
Iowa's a bunch of A's, Kansas is a bunch of A's, but Kansas also does it different, where they have two separate organizations for private schools and public schools.
Oh, so they don't compete against each
They
other?
do not. Well, they can compete against each other, but like they're separate, like playoffs.
Oh, interesting. So, yeah. And then there was another G League Ignite player picked shortly after this in the second round, the 33rd pick to the Bucks, Tyler Smith, who I believe is just a big man, athletic, can shoot and roll a bit. Kyle Filipowski, I just skipped over, one of the biggest names of the draft, and he went to Utah, which is funny considering his story.
Worrisome almost.
Yeah.
You worry for... Would you like to, honestly, this could be a tidbit
You can
theory.
fill in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, this is all alleged. I don't think anything's like...
It's
his brother
his
said
mom
stuff
and
on
his
social
brother.
media.
Mm-hmm.
But, so, Filipowski
Just
has
run it back. Kyle Filipowski.
So, Kyle Filipowski has not been in very close contact with his family at all since he started attending Duke.
Mm-hmm.
This is in large part to a girl that he's dating, that I think is his fiance now, that is 25. The problem with her being 25 is they started dating when Filipowski, I think, is reported to be 17. This is all alleged stuff. So It's like a grooming situation, and she is apparently like pretty aggressively and openly a member of the Mormon church.
Pretty aggressively a member of the Mormon church.
Like vocally, like out.
I just
very
like the wording.
vocal about it.
Uh-huh.
So the fact that he ended up in Utah, which if you didn't know, is the Mormon capital of the universe.
that is factually correct. Yeah.
Unless there's like a planet of Mormons somewhere that we don't know about.
No,
but
that is a fact. Yeah.
in terms of Jacob's universe, Utah is Mormon capital of the universe.
Uh-huh.
And the fact that he got drafted there, it just seems like a weird deal. I don't know if I missed anything. It's like there's a weird age gap. He isn't allowed to really communicate with his family very often.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bunch of weird stuff. But he does get to wear some new sick purple jerseys. So
that is on the upside. Yeah. Bright side for Kyle Filipowski. Yeah. Danny Ainge, I guess, is just, I don't know if he knew anything about that. I assume he probably had to.
You have to.
Yeah.
Like these like GMs have to know like an uncomfortable amount about these players.
Yeah.
If they're going to bring him into their culture, especially if you have like a solid culture,
Mm-hmm.
which like I feel like despite they like play up, like the culture in Utah has to be decent because of how much they like bat higher than you would anticipate.
Mm-hmm.
But that one was crazy. And then my other favorite draft rumor of the entire draft, ironically, went next, or 2 picks later. People were saying Tyler Kolek can't read, which was my favorite thing.
Really? I didn't even hear that.
Because apparently he had scored like so low on the aptitude test that the NBA gives players. It was like lower than the lowest score by like almost triple.
Wow.
This is all rumored. I don't know what's all real, but
like it was impressively bad.
Yes. It just made me laugh that the rumor was he can't even read. Because I know he had grade struggles at Marquette. That was like part of why he didn't play some games. So it was just kind of a lot of things, and it just made me laugh.
Yeah. No, for sure. That makes sense.
Other thing that made me mad, other player I wanted to go to the Celtics that didn't was Adem Bona. I was like, that'll be a great backup center if we don't get the Cornet contest back. And he went to the Sixers, so I love that for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That just got me bummed.
There was another Nikola drafted. Nikola Djurisić.
Djurisić.
Yeah. He was on the same team as Topić and actually became much more of a prospect after Topić got injured with the ACL because he became the starter instead of him. Which helped his draft stock quite a bit. And then I guess after that, there's Harrison Ingram is a name that I'm very familiar with.
Bronny.
Tristan Newton. And skipping down quite a bit to get to Bronny James at pick 55 to the LA Lakers. And it sounds like there were reports at least of, can't remember,
Rich
Paul. There we go. LeBron James's agent as well as Bronny James's agent. He was telling teams not to draft Bronny because, obviously they wanted him to end up with the Lakers at this point, this far into the draft. And he was saying that if another team takes him after a certain point, that he was just going to go spend a year in Australia and not come to the NBA yet. Playing in the NBL, I guess, was the plan. But instead, he did get not reunited, I guess, because they've never been on the same team before. But it's the first in NBA history to have a father and a son both on the same team, both in the league at the same time. Actually, I think this is the first time that's happened, which is just pretty wild. It's pretty nutty. I don't know if we'll see that happen again. I guess the longer and longer people's careers are getting, and we might be able to see. I was about to say, Deuce has a good chance, maybe.
I think it's like almost like a better chance than the LeBron one.
What do you mean by that?
From which point? I mean, about the same.
The LeBron one is guaranteed right now.
I was saying, like in
from
hindsight,
the beginning.
Because I'm not sure, because Tatum's first year in the NBA, Deuce was born.
Oh, just age-wise, you're saying.
Age-wise, there's like a higher likelihood.
Oh, okay. Well, Bronny was born in 2003, which was also LeBron's first year in the NBA.
I did not realize that. For some reason, I thought that he was slightly older, but...
Yeah, he was born, I think, his rookie year, maybe even before he was drafted, because I know he was born in 2003, and there's only a couple months of league or of NBA games being played in that year. So it might have even been before the draft. Who knows? Somebody knows, because it's not that hard of a thing to look up his birthday. Bronny James, October 6th, though it was the preseason. He was born in the preseason. Oh no, it was 2004. So it was the beginning of his second year, before the game started in LeBron's second year in the league. Preseason, second year. There we go. But I think that can probably do it on the draft. I don't know if there's Kevin McCullough, who was, I just am realizing him he went 56th.
Oh,
he could have at one point, he sat out this entire year. There were rumors the reason why was because he didn't want to hurt his draft stock, which was at the time a top 10 or lottery range is what people kept calling it. And he got selected at 56th.
In a bad draft.
Well, not in a bad draft from the top standpoint.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's very true.
I feel like we've called this draft a deep draft too many times ago. We go back on that.
Yeah, my brain doesn't think the depth extends into the second round, but Cal Filipowski won the second round, so it's a deep draft.
Yeah, I would say the second round. You could argue the second round is even deeper than the. I feel like
Jamal Sheed went 45th. I'm stupid. Pretend I can't talk. That was the dumbest. Yeah.
I think there's 50 first round picks in this year's draft, something like that.
That's how it feels.
Yeah. But yeah, so that will be it for the draft, though. Moving on to player signings, I guess, and trades that have happened. Let's start with the headliner, I guess, which is Paul George to the Philadelphia 76ers, where he got a 4-year deal there for $212 million. That's $53 million a year on average. And he's got a player option in the last year of that deal. The Sixers also re-signed Maxey to a 5-year, $204 million deal. And then they got Oubre, which I thought was an underrated pickup that they were able to retain Oubre for a 1-1 2-year contract with the player option on the second year, $8 million a year on average there. And then the more fringe moves they made, they got Eric Gordon on a 1-year contract, and they got Andre Drummond as a backup center on a 2-year, $10 million deal. So, Jacob, how are you feeling about the Sixers?
I think they're team 2
in the East. Honestly, pretty squarely.
Pretty hard, too.
I'd agree.
They got the spacing that makes Embiid be kind of unlocked or at this highest potential. They got ironically, a superstar that doesn't has had some funny playoff moments when you put it into the Sixers lens where they're second round, see you in Cancun type of jokes. Then they would have got Paul George, which is kind of funny a little bit to me. And then But no, I think that they got, like, Morey did a good job. He built a team. This wasn't just like what's a good big name I could get. Paul George was, like, not only, like, one of the best players that was kind of available, but was the fit that made the Sixers the best out of all the pieces available.
Straight up upgraded from Tobias Harris to Paul George, which is insane work. Like, not paying him really any more. It's like it's about the same that they were just paying Tobias Harris.
It went from, like, max to not max. What was Tobias Harris making?
Max.
So it was max to max. Just the max number is so just grossly different now that it messes with your brain.
It was like 10 million more a year, but like it was like one of those huge contracts on your books. It's like they would be able to be traded for each other in most scenarios.
Yep.
So that's nuts. That's like a Harrison Barnes to KD upgrade sort of vibes. You know what I mean? Like the Golden State Warriors going from Harrison Barnes to KD upgrade.
That's a pretty big upgrade, yeah. I did like Harrison Barnes on him. I was bummed when he left, actually. Like, back in the time when it happened.
Yeah.
But obviously, KD's a little bit better. The other big one is also an East team that I think is pretty square. Well, I don't want to say squarely in third or fourth.
Before we move off of the Sixers, I saw this thing being spread around that it's undebatable that this is now the best big three in the NBA. Embiid, Paul George, and Tyrese Maxey. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. I saw somebody did not like that and said
the Jays and KP.
The Jays plus whatever other Celtic you want. Basically.
The thing is, if you're saying the best, like, pick two, I will fight until I die that it is the Jays.
Over Jokic and Murray?
Yes. I will fight until I die that it's the Jays.
Okay. I would probably take Jokic and Murray, but I don't think it's crazy for somebody to pick the Jays.
No matter what iteration you want to go with Embiid and a different Sixer, whichever one you want to pick. But when you go down to three, like, there's just a difference between Derrick White and Maxey if you go with PG as the second guy. Mm-hmm. Or KP and Maxey, that's maybe not healthy. Or, like, would I like to be delusional and be like, oh yeah, for sure. But I would take, if you're going to five, like, what's the best starting five?
Okay, that's where I give it to the Celtics. Yeah, for sure.
Best four, Celtics.
Yeah.
Honestly, three, and then obviously one, because the best player is not, in the NBA, is not on the Boston Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you want to lean Luka, which I would not, or lean Jokic, which I would, it's neither of them are Celtics. So I would take the Jays over any duo on planet Earth. And I would take the three is the only part where I'm like a little bit more fine. You can give that to the Sixers or to somebody else. I think. Mm-hmm. I haven't thought about it this hard, but
if you were starting a team right now, you would take Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown over Jokic and Murray. If you you could have really.
No, because of the ease of, like, building around just 2, 3, and D guys that get along and aren't, like, crazy hard to deal with. Not that that's like a bad thing to bring up with, like, only Jokic and Murray, because Jokic is, like, almost makes everyone around him easier to deal with also.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think the one thing that's making it not a clear winner is like if the question marks around Jamal Murray. If I asked you this question last season, you for sure would agree with me.
Yes, 1,000,000%.
I think it's mainly, obviously, the Jays took a leap. Because
I think that's the part of the Celtics that got the bet, like the Marcus Smart upgrade from Drew, like all of those things. I think I said this before. The thing that got the most better, or whatever way you would say that,
I know
was
exactly
the
what you're saying.
Jays just self-growing. I think was what
especially
made us,
Jaylen.
Yeah, Jaylen made a giant leap, and then Tatum, like, growing into a different role to facilitate. I think that's what the best growth on the Celtics was, as opposed to just new names and new players that are just better than the old ones at the jobs they need to do.
Yeah, and then Jamal kind of having, just flat out a piss poor playoffs. Has definitely drowned his stock quite a bit. So obviously much more of a discussion now.
Because so if we look at this in terms of top players in the NBA, make a top 25. All 3 of the 6s are definitely there.
Mm-hmm.
In a top 25 list, I feel like
Absolutely.
There's no way they're not.
Yep. That's probably the only team that has that.
Yes.
3 top 25s. Mm-hmm.
And then I think the next team that would be closest would be the Celtics. With
for
Drew
the third guy
or KP, or I feel like Drew, KP, and Derrick White are all in the 30s to 40s, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I think I would say all of them are outside the top 25, but not by far.
It's close.
Yeah.
But then looking at how much higher do you think Jaylen Brown is than Jamal Murray? Because he is higher. Do you think that?
Yeah, for sure.
So it depends on if the gap of Jokic at 1A or 1B, or we'll just call him 1 because I think we both think that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if we have Jokic at 1 and Tatum at 7 or 8 or 6, 7, 8.
Let's do this with 2K ratings, our own. My 2K rating for Jokic would be a 98, 99, something like that. Tatum, I would
96?
give I was going to say 93, honestly.
I don't play 2K enough, so this was a bad thing for me to do. I just was going off of my... It's okay. I haven't played 2K since we played 2K weekly. So
yeah. I would give Tatum a 93. I would give Jaylen Brown a 90, 91, something like that. And then I would give Jamal probably an 88, 89. Maybe an 87. Somewhere in that range. High 80s. So
then the average would be Nuggets by a skosh.
Yeah, Nuggets by a little bit. But that's obviously not perfect. That's not the end all be all, obviously. It's not just that. But I think that those two, Jamal and Jokic, elevate each other. They complement each other in a more Tatum and Brown, they more they don't get in each other's way, really. They fit together.
They don't need each other, and I don't mean that but in terms of to be the best basketball player possible, they don't need each other. Jamal Murray needs Jokic.
Yeah.
He would be way worse on any other team. I shouldn't say way worse. He would not be a top 25 player on a different team. I do not think it would even be a conversation.
I totally agree with that. Yeah.
So that even leans in more of the ease to build around in terms of starting a franchise today. What duo do you want? And obviously, I'm a homer. I'm not hiding that. I'm not wearing my Celtic stuff today, but I've got my jersey box, and I grabbed. I mean, the energy's there, I think.
Yeah.
The
Red Sox is the jersey you're holding up.
Oh, shoot, audio people, I apologize. I know you exist. The thing that I get, and I know I'm homering about it, but the ease of being able to be I really don't have to worry. I can build in any direction from these two.
Yeah, it's true. There's more variability with more directions you can go with the Brown. Wow, I almost said the Browns. The Jays.
The Jays. My favorite part is that there's 3 Jays, kind of, with you throw Drew in there.
Yeah. Honestly. That makes it even better.
And I saw something. If you take the L from Al, somebody wanted to call them the JKLs, the JKLMNOP. Jays, KP, and then Al. It's a real stretch, but I saw that as a random thing and it made me laugh.
I mean, also,
Al's back. Let's go. Al is not retiring. I don't know if we've talked about that yet.
No, we haven't.
One more ride. There's got to be one more. There's no way. I shouldn't say no way, but man.
He's 38 now, so it's getting up there.
But was there a big drop off, especially because they didn't need him for as big a minutes?
Yeah.
He's a better Udonis Haslem. Eat your heart out, Miami fans. In terms of
better as in not even close.
No, I'm saying is he's our old guy that does all the things Udonis Haslem does, except he's an animal on the court.
He actually, he plays and provides spacing, and he's a skilled basketball player.
There has not been a Udonis Haslem game since his last game where they let him play a bunch of minutes. Al Horford is still good enough to have a playoff game named after him if he goes off.
I mean, even when Udonis was at his peak, he's a bruiser, undersized, athletic hustle guy.
I just needed to get a dig at Miami, honestly. That's the only reason that I threw that out there. But
yeah. So And when at his advanced stage, was not able to,
do
that all that much anymore. So Al Horford definitely got a lot of skills left and is defying aging in some ways. Not as much as like LeBron, but still, he's doing that in his own type of way.
No, he's obviously taken a step back since his like prime heyday, where he was like
all-star repeatedly,
like a deservedly constant all-star, but he is still he's a key piece on a championship team. Whatever role he's playing, he's still doing that, which is awesome, and I'm glad he's back, and we're running it all the way back. The only
Derrick White extension.
Yep, which I think, and this is kind of like the other thing that we like touched on briefly. I feel like there's this weird, like, max or nothing. Like, Derrick White is like, he might not be, but in my brain, he's like the highest end of a guy that you would not give the max to. Not in terms of on the court, but like the money he got. It was 4-year, just over $120 million, I think.
Yeah, I have that written down here. Derrick White, 4-year, 126.
So that's 31 and 1.5.
Yep.
A year. Which is,
I think perfect money for Derrick White right now. Yeah.
I think he could have gotten more somewhere though.
Oh, from a different team. Yeah, for sure.
The Celtics don't have more money to give out, really.
If he went to like a Rockets last year, like, he definitely could have got 40 plus. We could have seen that. I don't think that would be outlandish.
I think that he is kind of, all of the Celtics are bought into the, like, this could be like a couple year run of like, we're the top dogs, hang a couple banners in Boston. Like, that's like a real possibility. And I think that is being portrayed as almost everybody's coming back.
Tatum got the biggest extension of all time.
Which is just going to happen every year. Next year, it's going to be
whoever is up next year. Yeah, I don't even know who that is off the top of my head.
Is it Trey Luka?
It might be. Tatum would be 17, so yeah, it would be that class for sure.
It'll be the Luka's the only, like, if you don't give him the max, you are fired as the GM.
And Shea.
Oh, geez. Yeah. I forget that
Jalen Brunson's in that draft. But he's on a different timeline contract-wise, I think. Because
he got one.
Yeah.
That'll be an interesting conversation. That'll be like, is Jalen a max guy?
I think he is, yeah, absolutely. Derrick White is close to a max guy. Jalen Brunson is a max guy, yeah.
And I guess in my brain, in every situation, he's just, no matter what team, he's a max guy. Probably.
Basically. I mean, I obviously, you're not going to be signing him on, like, trying to think of a team with a point guard that just wouldn't be able to play together.
There's some teams that don't want him. Like,
yeah. It'd be weird. But most, in a vacuum, Jalen Brunson, he just almost made first team All-NBA. So, I'd say he's a max guy.
For sure. I guess we could talk about the Knicks. The Nova boys.
Oh, I totally forgot. That's one of the things I don't even have written down, but we definitely need to touch on that. It happened. They got
the jokes that we made. Happened.
And they did it in an even better way than I thought they could. Like, I was like, they'd have to give up like Randall.
Somebody.
They didn't.
Nope.
They gave up Bojan Bogdanović was just the money they gave up.
Picks and Bogdanović.
Yep.
Which,
just
honestly,
his salary.
His route to be him a member of the Nuggets is, I think, increasing, actually, a little bit.
That's the other Bogdanović. Is Bojan.
Gosh dang it, you're right.
But I think they're still friends. All the Yugoslavians or all the Balkan guys are buddies. So
cordial with one another.
Yeah.
But he's not the one that's like at Jokic's races all the time.
He's not like his best friend in the world.
Of the
Atlanta Hawks.
Hawks was going to be a Buck. Is a Hawk.
Yeah, like 4 years ago.
4 is way too long. Was it 4?
Yeah, the reason why the Bucks got Drew Holiday was because they missed on Bogdanović.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
But I think they would have been able to get both. I'm pretty sure looking at that, I remember at least after that happened.
But it was the tampering thing, so they had to just pretend it didn't happen.
Exactly. That's why it didn't go through, is because they got the hammer slammed down on them for tampering. And because they just
Which
were negotiating it. Yeah, before the window started.
Stupid and lame.
But their starting five that year would have been Drew Holiday, Bogdan Bogdanović, Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Brooke Lopez. And then Bobby Portis is their sixth man.
That would have been like Celtics this year level. Like, this is stupid and insanity.
And they won the championship that year anyways.
The tampering thing is stupid. It's dumb. During the NBA Finals, we watched Joel Embiid go, well, there's a lot of talent that could really fit our team. And then, like, look at Paul George. Not saying that I think that should be a problem, but, like...
It's an impossible thing to police, and every once in a while, the NBA will choose an example where it's like, you guys are being way too, like...
open with it.
Clumsy with this. You know, like, we have to punish you at this point. And they decide to...
reported this 3 days before the deadline.
Yeah.
Exact details.
It's like, you are just flat out, like, completely circumventing this rule. You can't do that.
And I also wonder if it was like, because wasn't Dante DiVincenzo part of that deal? I wonder if his agent was like, hey, Woj, this is about to go down.
Yeah.
Blow it up so he doesn't leave. Get him a ring.
Yeah, that's a funny one. But Bojan Bogdanović was the guy, though, that got moved for Mikal Bridges to the Nets. And it was 4 first-round picks, I believe, and then some swaps. Basically, like, all the draft capital you could give. Because, I mean, Bojan Bogdanović is a good player, but to a team like the Nets, who's, like, not a competitive team, like, it's not a guy that you really want all that much. Doesn't mean a whole lot. Also,
he's going to be pushed to his limit. I think this is the year that him playing in every game stops.
Mikal?
Yeah. Like, I almost wonder if Tibbs is like, this is my final boss. Like, they're each other's final boss. Like, one of them is the Pistons, and one of them is Michael Jordan, and they're reaching this impasse of one of them has to break. Tibbs has to be like, I've met a player I can't make tired. And then Bridges is like, I play every game ever, no matter what, without question.
Yeah. It'll be fun to see.
Yeah.
I bet he'll probably keep it up. That streak is just too good to...
Like, Tibbs would bend the knee, like, slightly. Like, I guess we're up by 23. I do suppose that Bridges can sit.
Yeah.
I guess.
And also,
he's only got 33 minutes.
Even if it takes Bridges to do a couple more games where he subs in, or like he starts the game and then subs out like very quickly after that, in order just to keep the streak going, because he has one of those, I think.
I only think it is one of them, and it was right when he got traded last year.
It was with the Nets, yeah.
It was like right when he got to the Nets, because he played in 83 games that season.
Oh, okay.
Because it was one of those weird deadline things. But doesn't the streak go back to like high school? Like he's like just...
I think before high school. Yeah.
That's craziness.
Sure. It goes back to like middle school, I
feel like that sounds right, but I didn't want to say that with my chest and then just be incorrect.
No, I think it was... I've heard about it before. I think it was like 7th or 8th grade or something like that was the last time he had missed a game. It was because he was sick. But that's just wild. Yeah. So yeah, the Villanova boys are all teamed up together, which is funny how big of a deal this one is when they just a little bit ago did have 4 Villanova guys, but you know, Ryan Arcidiacono is not the same caliber of player, understandably, as Mikal Bridges. It's not quite the same.
My favorite is if you look back at that Nova team, like the guys that were doing stuff like for the championship, it was like Chris Dunn and Ryan Arcidiacono. Like those are like 2 of the biggest pieces of that team, and then everyone else that in the NBA has become
Chris Johnson or Chris, what's his name?
Chris Dunn.
No, Chris Dunn is from Providence, isn't he? You're talking about the guy who hit the 3 to beat UNC, and that's Chris. I can't remember his last name. What is his last name? Chris Jackson. Chris
Hart. No, it's not Hart. Josh Hart. No, Josh Jackson. Jeez Louise.
It's Chris. It's Chris for sure.
Chris Jenkins.
Knew it was a J. Yeah, Chris Jenkins. Chris Dunn played for Providence, I want to say.
Yes, because I took Chris Dunn in our player pool thing that you did not get invited to on accident. And I started saying that, and then I remember that you weren't in that thing. Anyway, doesn't matter. And then they lost in the first round that year.
Providence did.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, Chris Jenkins and Ryan Arcidiacono were the big guys doing stuff
bigger pieces than they would be now if they were on the Knicks.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure that Chris Jenkins is even in the NBA.
I don't think he is, yeah.
And Ryan Arcidiacono is looking at the door to exit, probably.
Probably, yeah. He just got traded to the Pistons at the deadline. I don't know if he's still there or not, but yeah. Chris Jenkins has never played an NBA game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he played for in the G League.
He did try, but he just never broke through.
Yeah. Played 6 games in the G League for the Sioux Falls Skyforce.
Heck yeah, shout out to the Miami Heat. Wild.
Yeah, which is the weirdest connection of geographically for
a place to place.
Yeah. But anyways, I think we can move on from the Knicks. Honestly, good vibes. Lots of funny chemistry. Like they've been doing podcasts together about it. I've seen some clips of that.
They also
that's
made
fun.
And then the other piece that they ended up losing because of probably the money to make everything fit was another chef's kiss job by Sam Presti. Hartenstein is a member of the Oklahoma City Thunder, and perfect.
They finally got a center.
They've got a center. Awesome. That's about it. I don't really want to go into that much.
You'll probably be the 6th man, I'm guessing, but it kind of gives you flexibility of being able to have a different lineup if you want it. So like they can move Alex Caruso to the 6th man or Isaiah Hartenstein to the 6th man.
Depending on who you're running into.
Exactly. If they're going up against the Nuggets or the Sixers or something like that with a bigger lineup to go against.
Honestly, it's like those two and then like the Bucks with Giannis. And then other than that, it's probably the other way around.
Yeah. For the most part, I would probably say, maybe the Magic, just because how big they are.
Which that's another one we could talk about.
Magic have done a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Because the Knicks, everybody's like, oh, it's Celtics, Sixers, Knicks. I have another contender to throw out
in the East, yeah.
In the East, that I think is the 3rd best team in the East. Because of the youth getting better and their additions that they've made, the Orlando Magic are going to be
So who are they over? They're over the Knicks?
I have them over the Knicks and the Milwaukee Bucks.
Well, the Bucks one, I don't think is that hot of a take. But the Knicks?
Yes.
After they've gotten Mikal Bridges now?
Yes.
All right. And the Pacers. Got them over the Pacers too, which are running it back. They've got a lot of the same guys.
Yes. I don't know why that one doesn't feel as good as the Knicks, but yes. My brain, I forgot about the Pacers. My brain didn't. My point is, Bucks could mess around and be a play-in team, and I love it. It's my favorite thing ever.
Yeah, that's true. It could end up happening. The East is looking a lot more scary now. That's for sure. Cavaliers are running it back for the most part.
Oh my goodness! The Bucks are a play-in team.
Yeah.
If Giannis is not healthy for 99% of the season, because I'm convinced the Bucks without Giannis are like a Atlanta Hawks level team. They're terrible.
Yeah.
Unequivocally terrible.
Yeah. Unless Dame is playing like himself from 3 years ago or something.
Which are we sure he has that still? To do that for a season, Oh,
for a season? I don't know. He did it for a few games, though.
No, he had it for a few games because he almost ended up saying, "Stop, Bucks. I came here to win playoff games. We're not losing in the first round. Shut up. Tyrese Halliburton is not going to beat us." And then they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, the East is not bad. They weren't as good as the West, but now that only a couple pieces have shifted over, and I feel like it's evening. It's not even. It is evening. It's astronomically closer than last year.
Yeah, just by the number of teams that are in contention.
No, we have 12 teams that deserve to be in the playoffs, which I don't know if we've had that in all years. I feel like sometimes
I would say the East has a lot more clear bad teams.
Yes.
Like the Blazers, I'd say, is the only team in the West that, like, going into this season, that is like, that is a bad team.
Because, like, the Spurs, if things go right, you'd be like, why are they the 7th seed? This doesn't make sense.
They have Chris Paul, as we're rapidly, kind of announcing these to the world, that this is we're not breaking any news, but
this, I saw
somebody who gets all of their NBA information from our show, this is for you.
Yeah, Chris Paul is going to the Spurs. This feels very much, this is not my, like, I noticed this was a tweet, and I was like, very relatable. This feels like a Tony Parker to the Hornets type of thing, where it means nothing other than a name that people know going to a different team. But I don't know if I feel like the Chris Paul getting traded to a young team and shaking things up, that was the Suns. I don't know if he's going to...
And the Thunder.
The Thunder players do give a lot of credit to, like...
yeah, for sure. That one year that they were a solid playoff team. They went to 7 with the Rockets.
I don't know if he's got that left in him. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so.
I think it's a pretty perfect pairing. Putting one of the best floor general point guards of all time, even at his extreme old age, with one of the most brain dead easy targets to ever be paired with, in Victor Wembanyama. Like, I just think the clear vision behind it is, here's a guy that can get Victor Wembanyama the ball at the very least. Just get him the ball.
Here's a guy that can get people the ball when it's not easy.
Yeah.
But we just, like, turn the difficulty from all Madden to rookie. Or not rookie, but to getting the ball to Wemby, kind of.
Yeah. Exactly. It's one of the easiest targets to hit. And Chris Paul, I think, is going to be doing that. If he's going to be playing a good amount, which I think he will.
I think he might start.
I think he's going to start. I guess I'm saying more from durability standpoint, like being able to stay healthy and stuff. But I think we will see a fair amount of Chris Paul on the NBA floor this season for the San Antonio Spurs. And I think there's going to be a lot of assists from Chris Paul to Victor Wembanyama. It's going to be happening a lot.
A lot.
Yeah. So that will be fun to see. It also is just like Spurs getting a vet. Yeah.
Young
something
team
that
can't
I feel
be
like
bad.
they need.
Especially respectfully, not a Patrick Beverly vet, like an actual vet that is a cool, collected presence, as opposed to...
I don't know if everybody would say that about Chris Paul, but...
He's not Patrick Beverly crazy.
Yeah.
Outwardly. Maybe he is when you're leading you through the tunnels of the Staples Center.
Yeah,
but
there's some very, very polarizing opinions about Chris Paul. There's some people that, there's a very wide range of opinions about Chris Paul from different people around the NBA world. So I guess I'll just say that there's probably some credence there to multiple, different perspectives.
Yeah.
But another sign. Oh, you have something to say?
That was going to be maybe we might be going to the same new signing.
Klay
Is
Thompson.
it the end of an era? It is.
Yeah.
Also, shut up, Michael Thompson. Shut up.
Oh, is that about not going to the Lakers?
I wanted him to go to the Lakers. Shut up. Let him do what he wants. He's a grown man.
Well, I mean, he did let him do what he wants, but...
No, he was like, verbally... Have you seen any of the Michael Thompson quotes?
Yeah, I have. He just kept saying, I was really hoping, I was really, I was praying that he would go to the Lakers. I'm just a little disappointed.
Disappointed?
I like the honesty. I don't know. I'm here for it. We need more people, not just like...
Maybe it's just the Lakers hate in my soul that I can never extinguish.
Yeah.
That's probably it, honestly.
Yeah. Let's say, is there a current player right now that's the son of a all-time Celtic player? Might not be. I honestly don't think there is. Off the top of my head.
I don't know if any of them even have children.
Yeah. Like a Michael Thompson equivalent to the Celtics would be like a Cedric Maxwell.
In the future. Oh.
I wouldn't say Michael Thompson is Jason Tatum, but...
Oh, okay.
I'm saying like Michael Thompson...
children in the future.
Could, yeah.
Tito's his dad. I should know his kid's name.
I'm going back in time, like Cedric Maxwell, same era.
Cedric Maxwell has a child, which I'm glad you brought him up because he is the best ex-Celtic Laker trash talker ever.
Yeah.
He's subtle, and then he's not subtle. He'll be like, hey, Lakers, 17's behind 18.
Yeah.
Ha ha, you're worse.
So him, if he had a son that was like Klay Thompson level, and he didn't go sign with the Celtics.
Yeah, I get that a little bit.
He instead signed for the Heat, maybe. Something like that. And,
I
then
guess.
Cedric Maxwell had the same exact quotes as Michael Thompson. You know.
That's fair. No, I've been shown the light. I concur. I get it.
Yeah. I don't think I feel like it was entertaining to me to see.
I think the word disappointing is what I was like,
yeah, I know.
What?
It's kind of funny.
Cedric Maxwell would totally do that.
Yeah.
He would
honestly
be like, this is just disappointing. He's not going to Thanksgiving anymore.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Klay Thompson did sign with the Mavs for a 3-year, $50 million deal. He ended up turning down, apparently, this is from reports, he turned down a 2-year for $48 million deal from the Golden State Warriors, the team he just was on for his entire career. And then he turned down a 4 for $80 deal from the Lakers. 4 years, $80 million.
I would now be disappointed also.
You would be disappointed?
But you get 4 years, $80 million, and respectfully, Klay, we're not the same guy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We're that guy money, we should go get it. Collect it.
I've heard a number of people say that technically, after taxes, the Mavs contract is more, but I don't know how that could be. How can it be that much more?
No, California taxes are filthy.
But that makes the difference from 3 for 50 to 4 for 80. That seems like it's a bit. That's like 50. So it's like 15 million to 20 million. 25% difference of your total earnings. Makes that much of a difference? That just seems a little nutty.
In LA County, you would pay 10.25%, or I should check out tax brackets. The Los Angeles County, 9.5%, plus the 7.25% from the state.
Oh. So that's added together? Wow.
Yeah.
So this does seem like it's going to be pretty hefty. And then Texas has no state taxes.
California's top bracket, and I'm not sure if this is added or if this increases that state. I don't know. 14.4% if you make over $1 million.
Wow.
But I don't know if that's increasing the 7% or if it's an additional 14. An additional 14 seems crazy. But either way, it's like a quarter, 25%. And then Texas's state tax is 2.5%.
I thought they had no state tax. Pretty sure they don't.
Florida doesn't. I think Texas does. Texas state sales tax and use rate tax is 6.25%.
That's sales tax. Income tax.
And use tax rate. Oh, income. I typed that in for California. I didn't for Texas. Yeah, so no state. You were correct. So 20%. Yeah, just straight up math. It's just yes. That is correct.
Wow. That is
because of how insane California taxes are.
Yeah. That's just doesn't seem. That's weird. But
well, no, like in football, I know it's like Tyreek Hill wanted to be a Jet, but he is a Dolphin because of the millions of dollars of a difference it made tax wise.
From Florida to New York, yeah, that would make sense. And yeah, California is probably even worse than New York. Tax.
They're actually comparable.
But yeah, anyways, Klay Thompson
those
to the Mavs.
Those numbers all might have been wrong if that stays in. It might. I don't know. Those numbers might have been wrong. That was just me rough guessing. It might be like I think that is true. Taking it all into the perspective from all the numbers
just from the quick Google searches.
Yes.
Yeah. But Klay Thompson to the Mavs for 3 years for 50, I think is a really good signing, honestly. It's like
they would not have beat the Celtics in the finals if they had Klay Thompson. Stop saying that.
People are saying that?
Yes. And not, I don't think widely. I have seen this sentiment. No, they would not have. Stop saying that.
He would not have made that much of a difference. And also they lost Derrick Jones Jr. You have to count that.
Yeah.
He got signed. He went to the Clippers.
Which, like, I think this is like a marginal upgrade, but I don't think it's like earth-shatteringly insane.
No, but it keeps them in the mix for sure.
No, it does. In the West, that is a constant rise.
Yeah.
And this kind of segues. We talked about the East stacking of teams.
One more signing for the Mavs, though, that I really liked was Najee Marshall from New Orleans. They got him for 3 years, $27 million. I like that as a big wing.
Which I think is going to be looked at as like a Peyton Pritchard level. Like, that's a steal. That's they got a good one. They got a good one.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. But yeah, as you were saying, you were talking about the East versus West.
This is more like when we stacked the East, like, Celtics at 1, I think Sixers 2, 3, 4, 5, you could like shuffle.
I think the Knicks, you could argue the Knicks at 2 also. I know I said the Sixers earlier squarely at 2, but Knicks are really good. But I would probably lean Sixers. Jacob has his disagreeing face on.
I just think that
his disagreeing face where you don't know if you're going to say anything.
I'm trying to think how to word my disagreements.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
How do the Knicks slow down the Sixers? Is it Josh Hart fighting for his life to stop Joel Embiid?
Why? I mean, Mitchell Robinson will probably be good. I forgot
he's not gone.
Yeah, and then
that was literally what my brain was like. I was like, Hartenstein's gone. Like, they don't got an Embiid answer at all. Like, they're gonna have to find like Cody Zeller and bring him out of retirement or something crazy. I don't even know if he's retired, but I feel like he should be if he's not.
Mitchell Robinson will definitely need to be staying healthy. That's for sure.
Or else they will be not bad. They're definitely going to be good against the Celtics. The Knicks will be for sure. I think that was probably part of the intent. Was
having all those wings
to like Minnesota Timberwolves, the Nuggets, as this is to the Celtics. Like, let's get wings that can stop the Jays, and they already kind of had that, and then they just went and got one of the best guys to also try to do that.
Yeah. Also, I would say Randall and Anunoby would probably be given the Embiid assignment before Josh Hart. Also, Anunoby and Randall.
Yeah,
but not saying those guys would do all that great, but at least
they would probably get it before. I think Anunoby could hold on like for stretches. It couldn't be like for like if Mitchell Robinson gets in like foul trouble. There's 5 minutes left in the half.
Yeah,
he could like stem the bleeding, maybe sort of. Embiid won't have like a 45-point second quarter if Robinson gets in foul trouble. Obviously, that was over the top dramatization.
I mean, he scored 71 in a game this year, so it's not that much overselling.
But 45 a quarter would be like...
Yeah, I know, no. But 71 points is a bonkers number to score in a game.
That he did. He did do that with his own 2 mitts. But looking at the West, is there a world that like your Nuggets like are like 3 or 4? Because they've done a big old nothing burger. They still got money left, but if that money turns into Russell Westbrook, I apologize, that's not a plus.
Yeah, I might.
I mean, it's a plus more than nothing. I'm not that off on Russell Westbrook, but like, if there was anybody on this planet that I don't think would like learn how to play with the best player on the planet, it would be Russell Westbrook. I feel like he would be like the one guy to be like, nope, I got this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I'm just kind of in sad mode right now. I hate this. I've been bottling this up this whole episode. I'm upset. I don't know what's going on.
Like fire Calvin Booth upset?
Honestly. And obviously
there's some Nuggets fans that I think were already in that camp.
They are for sure, right? There's a lot of them. And
now it's like not even like a...
What do you mean we're... from when?
Like after this season.
Oh, because
or after the championship, just because of how...
Just because of that one criticism, like of just choosing to invest in young guys and not investing in more veteran players.
Like there was a camp that existed of like maybe Calvin Booth, like not the guy
made
who
a mistake. Yeah.
Like a big mistake that cost us like maybe winning back to back.
Yeah.
And then going into this offseason, unless he's got some crazy voodoo going on.
He's been so good in the draft that I find it hard to believe that he's a bad GM. So I'm definitely not going to say anything definitively until at least after this offseason is over and after
you see
like,
what the
things are
roster,
set.
Or even give him till the trade deadline. Like after the trade deadline, see what your team looks like.
Yeah, maybe. But I'll definitely, at the very least, I'd like to see something happen this offseason to the point of, because right now what it seems like is happening, and it honestly might not even be a Booth issue. That might just be a Kroenke issue.
Mm-hmm. This is a thing I think rampant across the West, which is what I think you're going to bring up.
The Kroenkes are famous for doing this in the past with the Nuggets, of getting themselves out of the luxury tax or out of like the top bracket when they don't want to be, spending too much. And it makes sense, I guess, from their standpoint of like, they just won a championship. They're satiated, I guess, for the time being. And they're like, all right, we don't need to be spending as much. We just got what we were looking for. And
there's
they're
two
pulling back a little
philosophies. There's two different philosophies. Won a championship and pull back.
Yeah.
And then won a championship and hit the gas pedal as hard as humanly possible.
Yeah.
And just kiss the top of the hard cap.
Uh-huh.
Like the Celtics are not messing. I don't know why. And then also like the Celtics are selling the team. Everything, or the ownership group is selling the team. Boston fans, we can breathe. The Fenway Sports Group cannot buy the Boston Celtics because one of their part owners' name is LeBron James. So we are safe from that aspect. And then the other piece of it is the second highest the second biggest chunk of the group that bought Celtics initially, has verbally said, I plan on being a part of the bidding process moving forward. So it even more seems like Wick Grousbeck is trying to like get out of the fiscal. He wants to sell the team at an all-time high because the team will sell for like $10 billion or something gross.
Yeah, no, honestly, it probably will.
Like they're like valued at $4.2 billion. They will go for
that's under what the Suns just sold for. How are they valued?
No, I know. Value and then what it sells for is like a weird difference.
But who made that value?
Twitter people. I don't know. I've just seen 4.2 literally everywhere.
Gotcha.
They will sell for like $10 billion.
Yeah, I agree.
And Grousbeck will be around the team until 2028, which if you look at the years where that lines up, it is
not to like, maybe we shouldn't hype hard. I would say they are going to be selling for at least like close to 7 at the minimum.
I think. And then also it depends on like when the sale happens, because if they make like another insanely deep run or maybe are lucky enough to win another title, it's like banana bonkers world.
Yeah.
Like selling a team when they're this good doesn't usually happen. Like that's not a super
and it's
common occurrence.
It's not just like the Nuggets, what it would be for like it's the Nuggets just got.
It's also
it's the
like
Boston Celtics.
Yeah. You are inheriting
18 banners.
The most storied franchise in the NBA, and they're really, really good. Like really, really good. And they have 2 guys that seem to love the city of Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. Anyway. It's just that whole thing I think got overblown. Celtics or Boston people breathe. Fenway can't buy them because of LeBron James being a part owner of that. And there's rules with all that stuff. And Grousbeck will be the governor of the Celtics through the 2028 season. That's like part of their selling rules.
Okay.
Like the official transfer of the team will be in 2028.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a bunch of legalistic lingo, but Grousbeck will be there, meaning Brad will be allowed to cook and Missoula will be allowed to cook for at least 4 more seasons.
Yeah, which will be a lot. In the basketball world, that's a long time.
It's the entirety of Jason Tatum's contract he just signed.
That's true. And he has an option on that on the 28 year, I think. Yeah, 27, 28. But yeah, so the Nuggets, though, getting back to them with ownership seeming like they might be like just being stingy and not wanting to spend as much. That's just really a disappointing thing to see as a Nuggets fan when we have such a good, like, we have the ingredients for a team, even in this loaded NBA and this loaded Western Conference. We have the ingredients to potentially be a champ again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And like there's avenues to improve. We probably could have maybe, if we really tried to, got in on the Paul George.
No, if they
action.
got Paul George, they might be betting favorites.
Yeah. Or
like
at the very least,
Celtics.
Klay Thompson. We could have maybe gone after Klay Thompson, which I wouldn't have loved near as much, but at least it would be something to replace KCP with. And then when I saw Gary Harris re-signed with the Magic, was another one where I was like, at the very least, we couldn't at least get Gary Harris back here. I've wanted Gary Harris ever since he left.
Mm-hmm.
And we couldn't even get him back when his replacement went and re-signed with the same team that he's on now. And he just re-signed there. It just seems like they're not even trying to go get anybody. I don't know. And if what ends up happening is us trading for Russell Westbrook, and that's our big move of this offseason, I am just, I don't know. I might dip out this whole next season.
You can't. We have a podcast.
Yeah. But I might just...
You can hop on the Celtics little fun train. Just
I have my AI voice and everything all ready to go, so that can be the podcast host for this next season, maybe.
I could do it solo, but we would lose people pretty quickly.
No. Yeah. I am jesting, I am joking, but I also am trying to deliver the emotions.
The seriousness of what's going on.
It's not a fun place, and I'm very unhappy with my team right now. And all this talks of expansion makes me, this is also a joke, by the way, just going to preface it with that, but all the talks of expansion, getting a team in KC or, Omaha, God willing.
This is a real question. If Jokic retires and it lines up with a team coming to Omaha, are you going to Omaha?
Like, I am in Omaha, but...
Are you becoming an Omaha fan?
Yeah.
If it lines up with Jokic retiring?
Maybe, honestly. I wouldn't make that decision right now.
No, yeah, because you have no idea about anything. Their mascot could be like the swastikas or something gross. But, like...
Yeah, but I feel like there's a chance of that at least. And I like, at the very least, if Omaha did get a team, I would for sure root for them. I wouldn't necessarily become a Omaha whatever fan and not a Nuggets fan anymore. I'd probably still, like, I don't know. I just feel like I probably wouldn't be fully in either direction. Like, Nuggets would be my favorite team still overall, unless they just treated me very poorly.
Which they kind of, if they did this for the next 4 years.
Yeah, exactly. Then I would have to leave that relationship. Too much abuse to, withstand at that point.
Oh, speaking of, I was scrolling seeing if any other NBA news had happened while we were talking. Legion Hoops. Let's revisit who wins it in how many games. And it is a picture of the Dallas Mavericks starting lineup with Klay Thompson in the 2 slot, and then the Celtics as they stand.
Does it have Derrick Jones Jr. on that team?
No.
On the Mavs? No.
It's got Kyrie, Klay, Luka, PJ Washington, Derek Lively.
Okay.
And then the Celtics are NBA champion, 2-time NBA champion, Jrue Holiday, Buffalo Soldier NBA champion, Derrick White, Finals MVP NBA champion, Jaylen Brown, the champ NBA champion, Jason Tatum, and then the champ risk his leg health for us, Kristaps Porzingis, Tingus Pingus.
Yeah.
If you're all wondering, the Celtics 1-5 in real life. And I think that's what would probably happen again. Almost without change.
Especially if Porzingis plays. Like, you have Porzingis back fully healthy.
If you're going to do your weird hypothetical mumbo jumbo, Porzingis doesn't have the rarest leg injury in the history of medicine.
Yeah. Honestly.
Also, that game 1 will live in my heart forever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get my wife to let me name my 3rd child Tingus Pingus. First name Tingus, middle name Pingus.
You couldn't just compromise on Chris or something? Chris Taps.
Maybe just Taps.
Taps.
Or maybe the middle name could be... Oh, should I really try and fight hard to name the child Jay if it's a boy? Just don't tell her why. Just Jay. Just don't tell her why.
I like it. She wouldn't be able to figure that out?
I think it would go over her head. She'd have no idea why. I'm like, it'd be like if I were to say, like, let's name our kid Thomas. Like, she wouldn't catch on that, like, it'd be like a Tom Brady thing.
Oh, I thought I was going Isaiah Thomas, to be honest. No. Sounds like Isaiah Thomas is what I thought you were doing.
Nope, I was going more Thomas Brady.
I honestly don't think of him being named Thomas, but yeah, makes sense. Tom is short for Thomas at the end of the day.
I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong. I
know a Tom who's short. His name is short for Tomathan. You know him too. I'm not going to say his last name here, but I might and just bleep it out.
Tomathan?
Tomathan is his name, yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were going to blow my mind and say that TJ's name was Tomathan.
No. He's
Thomas something.
Jr. Yeah.
Thomas something J. Anyway, all that could probably be Gonzo. Respectfully.
Yeah, I'll just censor the last names.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
Tomathan.
Anyways.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that's a name. But, yeah, I think that will do it for that section.
That's honestly such a sick name. It's so off the wall, but, like, it's got some power. It's like Octavius. It's got, like, some oomph, some girth behind it.
I don't know if it's real or if somebody just decided to mix up, like, Jonathan with Thomas, you know? Kind of like how Jalen, that name was invented apparently by Jalen Rose's mom, who combined his dad's name with his uncle's name or something like that. So two family members named James and Leonard combined those to make Jalen. And that's where that name comes.
In that scenario, that's where it came. I think it was a real name prior to that.
It's pretty, if you Google the origin of Jalen, that's what will come up.
Oh.
I'm not even kidding. But that's so it started with Jalen Rose, and now that's like the most common name in the NBA is Jalen, which is insane. It's a completely made up name in the 90s.
That is kind of cool. It feels like a real name. It doesn't feel like super made up. Like my aunt's got the same thing where it's like just two names smashed together, but it doesn't feel like a real name.
Oh, really? What is it?
Dieta.
What is that even?
And an Edda. Dieta.
And Henrietta?
Nope. The ladies' names were D-E-E, and Edda, E-T-T-A.
Yeah, but you said they're like two names put together. I was asking what those two names are.
D and Edda. Those are two different people. And their names were smashed to become Dieta.
Oh, but they're the full name. Okay, gotcha. So they didn't lose any of the names.
Nope. Just cut one E from D.
Wow.
I think. Actually, I don't even know if I know how to spell my aunt's name.
Yeah. Well, so to confirm, Jalen technically was a name before, but not common at all. It blew up after Jalen Rose.
Mm-hmm.
And his mother was not aware of the name existing before she decided to slam James and Leonard together. Apparently, it derives from Galen, the Greek name. In a traditional usage of the name. But yeah, getting back off of that very weird tangent, one of our all-time weirdest, honestly. It's up there, at least. It's probably like top 10. Some other signings that I liked, at least. Jonas Valanciunas being so disrespected and apparently only being able to sign for 3 years, $30 million.
Feels wild.
In Washington? Yeah. What is going on?
Also, my favorite tweet that I've ever seen, I think in the history of my life, was someone said he looks like both the Kelsey brothers at the same time.
That's true. I think he looks a lot more like Travis, but I get the putting him together because he's just bigger.
He's just like a little bit off of Travis. So like their compromise was he looks like both of the Kelsey brothers at the same time, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah. But I also like to see Colin Gillespie getting a chance somewhere else. He got picked up by the Suns as a two-way prospect or two-way player. Came from the Nuggets. Didn't really get to see much of the floor this season, but nevertheless, like to see that. And Mason Plumlee, also former Nugget, sign in there. Jalen Smith went to Chicago, and I thought that was a pretty good deal there. 3 years for 27. Tobias Harris to Detroit again. Not necessarily a signing I like that much, but it's just a one I feel like is notable. 2 years, $52 million. So definitely more of an agreeable number compared to what he was just being paid.
I was really hoping that he'd realign with Bobby. Toby and Bobby, I was hoping it would come back.
Yeah, where even is Bob on right now?
I think Houston.
Is he on the Houston Rockets still? And then the Pistons also hired JB Bickerstaff while we're talking about the Pistons.
He is a Rocket.
Boban Marjanovic. But yeah, did you see JB Bickerstaff getting hired by the Pistons?
I did see that, and I like it because I feel like he should have had a job somewhere. Mm-hmm. Some could argue in Cleveland, but that obviously is not the case.
Yeah. Borrego, though, would have been your first choice, right?
Yes. I think Borrego would be my first choice for every almost NBA job opening that comes up in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Outside of like Nuggets legend Adelman. Those are like the only like two guys where I'd be like, if you don't interview them, you are doing a bad job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at least ask. Like, hey, want a coach, maybe?
Yeah. I also really liked D'Anthony Melton to the Warriors. 1 year, $12.8 million.
Prove it, buddy. You want to get paid more? Well, do it.
Yeah, I was a fan of that one. Eubanks to Utah for 2 years, $10 million.
Just felt like a nice, solid deal.
Yeah, and I like Drew Eubanks. The Magic, who we kind of started talking about, but KCP signed there for 3 years, $66 million, which I feel like we didn't really wrap up the Nuggets all that much. But yeah, there was rumors that the Nuggets didn't even really try to compete with that. Is why
but then I thought those got like countered. Like, that's baloney. They tried.
By who?
I will find out.
Yeah, I got my source from Zach Lowe on it, but also maybe it was outdated. Could have been outdated. But that's why I heard from him. But yeah, 3 years, 66 with a player option on the last year of that. So obviously him and his getting into his mid-30s now. That is a bit of a big number. But still not doable. That's for sure. But Gary Harris, the aforementioned, he signed his contract with the Orlando Magic, returning there for 2 years, 14. And then Goga Bitadze, 3 years, $25 million. And then also Jonathan Isaac, got signed with the Magic once again for a 5-year, $84 million deal, which I think is honestly a really fair price for him, obviously not playing very much in his first half
like
decade.
A weird start to an NBA career.
Yeah. But his upside looks very, very nice as like one of the best defenders in the league. So that is obviously what they're kind of paying for there is the.
I might be crossing my wires with Klay Thompson rumors and KCP rumors. I apologize for leading you astray.
Oh, yeah. Warriors definitely were trying to keep.
There was like a couple things thrown out there, like Warriors didn't try that hard to keep Klay. And then when it was like reported that like, oh no, like it was like literally the same or if not a little more money, I think, than some of the contracts. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was a lot. So I'm mixing my people up. I apologize.
Yeah, the Warriors contract for Klay would have been $24 million a year, but it was only 2 years. But yeah, KCP, sounds like the Nuggets weren't really being all that competitive with trying to match that, which is a little bit of a bummer.
Also, going back to that, isn't it insane that they just gave Draymond his money and didn't even do that for Klay? Doesn't that feel kind of bonkers?
I mean, Draymond's just way more important to this Warriors team at this point.
At this iteration, I suppose.
I mean, it's just like it's been 2 years in a row where Draymond, for whatever reason, last year it was injury. This year it was
being unable to assault people.
Yeah. Where he missed a big chunk of the season and the Warriors went into the tank. And then right when he came back, they were good again. It happened 2 years in a row now.
So it's like a proof of concept, like, oh, maybe Draymond makes them better.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely on the defensive end is a huge key
almost
to their success.
The only part of like what he provides for them. Offensively, he's not really anything anymore.
I mean, he definitely makes their offense run like they're able to play Warriors style offense when he's on the floor better than they can without him, because there's not really somebody to fill in the Draymond spot when he's out for the most part. They can do that same type of thing as a playmaker from that spot. But on the defensive end, though, he's somebody who makes his teammates a lot better as well. You know?
Yeah. No, just to me, it feels weird because they're like those three, you know?
Yeah, I mean, right after the Gobert choke, we would have been surprised if this would have happened this way, because after that stuff, we were talking about like, oh, Draymond's going to be the one who doesn't. He doesn't end up finishing his career with the Warriors. But now it looks like pretty obviously it's not going to be Clay. But
yeah,
Draymond he looks like he probably will finish his career with the Warriors, to be honest.
Which, that's fine. And that's good. And that is good. The Magic, I think we did actually go over all those. Jonathan Isaac, that was a nice one. And then the Clippers did a lot of smaller signings. I mean, they got Harden, which was a bigger one, 2 years for $70. Nicholas Batum returned to the Clippers, so he must really like it there after being with the 76ers for the last half of this NBA season. Went there for 2 years, $9.6 million. Then Derrick Jones Jr. left the Mavs to sign with the Clippers. 3 for $30 on that one. And then Kevin Porter Jr., the domestic assault guy, one of them in the NBA. He ended up signing with the Clippers for 2 years. Chris Dunn, the Providence alum product,
is signing there as well. And then Mo Bamba got a deal thrown at him by the Clippers, which is just fun to see for the memes. But yeah, those are all the ones I had written down. I don't know if there was any more that stuck out to you.
Nope, that was even more than I thought stood out. Like, my brain was like, yeah, Clippers got a lot of little things, and then James Harden, and then I don't think there's any of them that I'm like...
Kyle Anderson to the Warriors was a very recent one that has happened since I wrote things down.
Which I don't get at all. Like,
For
I
who?
do...
Minnesota?
Like, to let him go, that just feels weird. Because I feel like he was your solution into some matchups. Like, Kyle Anderson being big for you was, like, important for some...
And very important to Gobert lineups as well.
Yes, like he was chemistry. Like what kind of allowed those to happen in the manner that they did, that ended up giving you your goal of beating the Nuggets in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I also get that there's a lot of like issues with,
It seems like it's probably has to do with like flexing around, trying to make room for something, because they traded him for a future second round pick swap, which is the definition of nothing.
Something because there has to be something.
Yeah, and cash is what he was traded for. So it's a pretty clear salary dump.
Yeah.
But what they end up using that salary on... It just seems like
the West is a lot more scared of the second apron ownership-wise than the East. And maybe that's part of like the brands that they are. Like the Knicks can be like, yeah, do whatever.
James Dolan, He spends...
The Celtics, to a certain extent, can also do the same. The Celtics ownership is not some grossly rich person like Dolan is, but the idea is still there. They will get their return on investment. The Sixers are also, they have the brand of being able to just kind of... But then you've got a lot of brands out west, the Nuggets, Clippers to a certain extent. They're probably the biggest brand that they've ever been right now. Like, in terms of the significance to the world.
Steve Ballmer spends, like, more lucratively
Well, they're going to outright own their stadium, which not very many teams do. Or their arena, excuse me. Like, it's like the Nuggets... I was just
saying, Steve Ballmer splurges on his team as much as anybody.
Yeah. But I just wonder if there's, like, a limit to that. Like, I'm footing the bill for a brand new arena. This is a lot.
That's true. It could be. But I think he is either... the richest NBA owner, or he's in the top 2 or 3, one of those. He's very close to the top. And then I think Joe Lacob is one of the richest as well.
It is
with
Steve
the Warriors.
Ballmer.
Steve Ballmer is number 1.
At number 9. Well, he's the 9th richest person on the planet, making him
the
richest owner.
That's for sure. Which we almost had.
Well, he's actually the richest sports
By a
team
lot.
owner out of all sports.
Okay, that would make sense. He's a top 10 in general. Bezos,
Second place
though,
is
almost.
the Rob Walton, the owner of Walmart and the Denver Broncos. Daniel Gilbert, shocker, number 3.
Wait. Back up the truck. You said, so Robert Walton, the owner of Walmart,
bought the Broncos like 2 years ago or a year ago.
And the owner of like all the other Denver sports teams are the Cronkies, who are offspring of the Waltons.
Yeah.
Literally not step, but family-in-law.
Yeah.
Because Stan Kroenke is married to the Waltons' daughter. One of the Waltons, I don't remember her name. Ann Walton, I think, is her name. I think that she might even be technically the owner of the Nuggets, because all the different members of the family are like they have their names on the different teams.
Teams, yeah.
She might be the Nuggets one. That's interesting to me. That it's like the Kroenkes own the Rams though, because they couldn't own the Broncos for whatever reason. I'm guessing
bought him at the wrong time. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
that's
Gilbert
very
was
odd.
A shocker at 3 for me.
Dan Gilbert.
Yeah, across all sports.
He's number 3.
Yeah, 3rd richest person.
Wow, what does he do?
Quicken Loans, a little company you might have heard of.
Okay, I knew that they were the sponsor of the arena at one point. They're not anymore though, so that's weird. Because now it's something Fieldhouse. Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, I think, is the name of...
Which might be just a different thing of Quicken
Loans. Oh, gotcha. That's a very similar name now I think of it. I think about it. Quicken Loans and Rocket Mortgage are like synonyms.
They're like, they do the same thing. Is that
No,
what
I'm
you
saying
mean?
literally etymology, like Rocket Mortgage, Quicken Loans.
Quicken and rocket? Like to rocket away. I'm thinking the physical rocket. Yeah.
I'm just thinking fast. Fast, give you money for, fast loan, fast. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. It seems like Rocket Mortgage was purchased or Rocket Mortgage bought Quicken Loans.
Okay. So he sold Quicken Loans.
He was the Rocket guy. I don't know why Forbes has his source of wealth as Quicken Loans.
Oh.
Anyway, it's Kroenke's at 7.
Yeah. But they're more stingy, I guess. And also they own a lot of teams. So
yeah, there's a lot of money that has to go out. Also shockingly high, the Grizzlies owner, Robert Pera.
I was going to say Justin Timberlake, honestly, but I forget that he's the minority owner.
Yeah, there's like a lot of these people that I don't like. There's some owners that you know, and then some you just don't.
Is Mark Cuban not listed on there anymore because he's not a majority anymore?
He wasn't top 20. I don't know how much money you have to have for that.
Oh, really?
How much is he worth? I don't even know.
I would assume a lot, but
I think I thought most of his money was the increase in the Mavericks.
Oh, I don't know. I guess I don't know enough. He's $5.4 billion.
7.2 is the lowest on this list of 20.
Gotcha.
So he would just not fit the bill. The widely known poor guy, Mark Cuban, not rich enough for these sports owners.
Yeah.
But he's not even an owner anymore, or is not going to be, or something. I'm not sure.
He's a minority owner. I think he's still like the face of ownership. But
he's not the governor, though.
I don't know who the governor is, because I'm pretty sure there's not a single majority owner anymore. It's like a
Patrick Dumont.
He's the governor.
Is the technical governor.
Gotcha.
Oh, wow.
Should we expand on that?
Patrick Dumont is an interesting looking cat.
Okay.
Wow.
All right, let's end this thing though, as we are definitely not talking about free agency anymore.
Nope.
It seems like. So, thanks for listening. Be sure to go check out the Patreon, buy me a coffee. Both of those are at, those words then .com/hoop theory, patreon.com/hoop theory, buymeacoffee.com/hoop theory. Both the links of those should be in the description of both the show and the episode, wherever you're listening or watching this. Please rate the show on Spotify and wherever else you can rate stuff. A couple episodes ago, we said that we need to get it to 15 on Spotify. We're sticking to that. Please get it to 15, and then we'll do something. I don't know. Jacob will have something weird that he'll do for one of the bonus episodes on Patreon, maybe. That'll be something that we
recorded my workout today, or like a little bit of it. I could start recording more of it.
That could be it, honestly.
I don't know if people want that though. This is 2024 is the last Fat Boy summer. Anyway, I need to write a story for work.
Okay.
Because I forgot to do it before, so I'm ready to wrap up. Let's get this bread.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Subscribe and follow the feed. And thanks for watching. Stay happy.
Sorry.
Stay happy. All right, 1 second. Thank you guys for listening. Stay happy. Stay healthy. We will talk to you guys next episode.
Peace.